What up, everybody? It's your girl July from Kickback Couture. Today I'm gonna go over the parameters of Clang, the tuned percussion instrument that came with as an upgrade. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it came as an upgrade with Reason 10. So, getting straight into it. This is Clang. As I said before, it's a tuned percussion instrument. Let's just start from the top. Right here we have the patch selector, the option to change patches, browse patches. Open up the browser here and we can see all of the patches that it came with. We'll close that and we have the option to save here. Select the name, put any tags you want, and the location you would like to save it. Over here to the right we have the master volume, right? It's going to control the volume of the instrument. Over here, we have this note LED. This lights up whenever a note is being inputted, or you're playing a note, or there's a MIDI note in the sequencer. Whatever the case may be, when it gets that signal, this will light up. Right here, we have our pitch wheel, our mod wheel, and our range. So the range is going to be pertaining to the pitch wheel. Right now it's on 2. This number will be semitones. So 2 semitones is the range right now. So if I bring this up, it'll go plus or minus 2 semitones. It goes up to 12, so you can go plus or minus 12 semitones, which is the equivalent of an octave. Very important play control is pitch modulation, of course. Next we have our mod wheel, right? And our mod wheel is going to work according to what we set these 3 knobs to. Alright, so we have level, filter frequency, and sample start. So right now, what will be modulated is sample start, because it's the only thing that's not at a 12 o'clock position, going straight up. Whoops. So we'll just bring that up to 0%, so it's at 12 o'clock. Let's start from the bottom here with the level. If I bring the level up and I bring the modulation wheel up, it gets louder. If I bring the level down, it'll get quieter. Next we have filter frequency. Pop filter got too close to the mic. Now, our filter has to be on for this to work, so we're going to turn this on. Let's bring it up to about 30%. You can hear the difference in that. Cutoff is being raised. We're adding high frequencies back in. If we move it this way, we're cutting off the high end. And sample start. It's going to change the sample start position. So by moving it to the right, we've cut off the beginning of the transients. And moving it to the left does nothing at this point. If our sample start position in the instrument section here is set to 0, we cannot move it back any further. And if it's set to 150 milliseconds, we can't move it further than what's set here. The same thing goes for the filter frequency. If our filter is set to 20 hertz here, we can't go below 20 hertz with our modulation. If it's set to 25K, we can't go past that. Same for the volume. If it's down here, we can't go lower than that. And if it's, and if it's up here, we can't go higher. Alright, so keep in mind that these will have an effect on these. Okay? Next we have our instrument, okay? So there are these different instruments here. We have alto, glockenspiel, bombalung, circle bells, cylindrum, iambophones. How do I say that? Imbibophones, 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 kalimba, music box, Noah bells, steel tones, well drum. So some beautifully tuned percussion instruments right at your fingers. Down here we have a sample start, which we kind of discussed here. Gonna push back the start of the sample or push it forward depending on the preset. Notice how the transient is being lost as we move this to the right, and it comes back as we move to the left. Octave here, plus or minus 2 octaves. Semitones, plus or minus 12 semitones. 12 semitones is equivalent to an octave. Fine tune, 50 plus or minus 50 cents. 100 cents is equal to a semitone. So this is great for detuning your instruments, if you like the detuned sound. To the right we have our filter. Alright. Filter on, filter off here. Low pass, high pass, band pass, and a comb filter. Right now it's on low pass. We have our cutoff here. Our resonance here. Filter envelope, which corresponds to this. The filter velocity is going to change how much the filter is going to work depending on how hard your note is played. So soft right there and hard. Then we have, here, let's hear it again. Soft, hard. Keyboard control is going to have the filter cutoff affected by which octave you're playing in terms of MIDI. So now you notice we heard the filter a lot more prominently at those low frequencies. Keeps going. Here is our filter envelope. We have attack, decay, sustain, and release. So let's go ahead and grab a longer sound here. Glockenspiel. Here we have our filter attack, filter decay, sustain, and release. Next we have our amp envelope. We have velocity. So how hard we play our note will depend on how loud it's going to be. So if I play a soft note as opposed to a hard note, the velocity will change. And if it's all the way down, no matter how hard or soft I play the note, it'll play the same every time. Then we have our ADSR for our amp here. So we can make some pads if we want. Or we can keep a nice plucky sound. Then here we have our delay. Time settings, you could turn sync on and off. If you turn it off, you'll be able to do this in milliseconds for your delay time. Feedback will increase the number of repeats. Ping pong will have those repeats go from left to right in your ear. Alright, damp. Damp is going to cut off some of the high frequencies of the delays. At the left, you still hear those clicks and the glockenspiel, and at the right, you notice those beginning transients are gone and the delays. Then here we have a mount. This is like a dry wet knob. It is a dry wet knob. Here we got reverb. Reverb time. How long that reverb is going to last. Pre-delay. How long it takes for that reverb to start. High damp. High damp is going to cut off some of those high frequencies. Give you a warmer sound for your reverb. Let's bring down the time. Low damp. Gonna cut out some of the low frequencies of the reverb. Possibly get rid of some mud if there is any. And amount. How much reverb do you want? Alright, let's flip to the back of this device. We have sequencer control, modulation inputs, and the audio out, which is going into this mix channel. For sequencer controls, you can use any CV devices you would like. Same with modulation inputs. If I was to experiment with this, then I would add something to the extent of a matrix. And if you would like to know more about CV, check out the video in the cards. It is an incredible video and you will learn a lot from it. Let's go ahead and right click the matrix. Gonna create a random pattern. So right now we have our gate being controlled by matrix as well as the CV. It's gonna control the velocity and the note. And we can also do curve here. So I can put the curve on the pitch bend. Which is here. And it's going to change this. Same with the mod wheel. We could create another one if we want. Sample starts being modulated right now. We could do filter frequency and level. Then we have the modulation inputs. This would be the cutoff, resonance, and level. These knobs are going to control how much that CV input can control that particular parameter. It's a dry wet knob for CV. So definitely explore those. Have fun with Clang. This is one of my favorite instruments that came in Reason 10. Definitely do not forget to subscribe. Tons of content coming. It's all culture, kickback, and cookup.